Hello everyone. I hope this message finds you fit and fine. My name is Shashank Tyagi. Welcome to Contest series of Indian Polity based on Lakshmikant. In our previous class, we were discussing emergency provisions. We started with the base. What is the meaning of word emergency? Why these provisions were added in our constitution? And we discussed in detail Article 352, that is national emergency, first type of emergency. There are three types of emergency. Second, state emergency as mentioned under Article 356, then financial emergency as mentioned under Article 360. So today our focus would be these. But UPSC sometimes asks question giving multiple statement where one statement might be from Article 52 and another from 356. In order to check whether you are clear about the provisions or not. That is why today I am going to start with revision of Article 52. A quick revision, okay, and I'm going to ask questions from you, rapid fire round. National emergency, it can further be divided into two parts, external emergency, internal emergency, and this division is based on ground, means basis on which national emergency is imposed. So there are three grounds: war, external aggression, armed rebellion. If above two are the ground for imposition of national emergency, then we call it external emergency. Then we call it external. And if third is the reason, armed rebellion is the reason, means from inside conditions are such that national emergency need to be imposed, then we call it internal emergency. Quite clear. Then I ask a question from you. Is there a possibility that if none of these three conditions are actually happening, can President still invoke the provisions of Article 52? Can national emergency be imposed in India? Yes or no? Answer is yes. Because immediate danger word is also mentioned in Article 52. It means if there is possibility, high possibility of such circumstances, then also national emergency can be imposed. Now my another question. Is it possible to exempt an area from imposition of national emergency? It means President declare national emergency but give exemption to say Tamil Nadu, that this will not be applicable in Tamil Nadu. Is it possible? Answer is yes. It means it can be applicable in whole of India or part. Why? Security reasons. If there is no security threat persist in Tamil Nadu, it is quite stable, law and order is intact, then there is no need. Okay, so such thing can happen. Now this is Article 52 and we have broken it and understood it. Now when it comes to approval, means you are president, and being president you have declared that national emergency is imposed. But still this particular national emergency proposal need to be cleared by both houses of parliament within 1 month. Means if you have declared national emergency on 1st Jan, then within January, you need to get it passed from both the houses of parliament. Please remember 1 month, because this is a differentiating factor. Only in case of national emergency, the word 1 month is used. Okay, but when we talk about state emergency and financial emergency, approval is needed there also. But there we are going to read 2 months. Okay, there should not be any confusion. Now, what if Lok Sabha is not there, means Lok Sabha get dissolved, and here we said that it need to be passed by both house, approved by both house. So one house is not there. What is going to happen then? I told you. Then you need to get it passed from Raj Sabha. And when Lok Sabha is reinstated, reconstituted, then within 1 month, within 30 days, specifically 30 days are mentioned, within 30 days you need to get it passed. You need to get it approved, the proposal of this national emergency. Now comes the question, consider it is approved. First step was declaration. Second step was approval from parliament, approval done. Third is, by which majority? Answer is special majority. Please remember, only in case of Article 352, approval need a special majority. Only in case of Article 352, okay? If we compare with other two types, 356 and 360. In 356, in 360, it need only simple majority. Okay, I hope now it will be quite easy for you to remember. Now, consider it is approved. Now, how long this national emergency will continue? Answer is 6 months. Before ending of the 6th month, you have to get it approved from Parliament again. Now, the point is there some limit, or we can actually keep on asking for revival of national emergency and it can continue? Is there some slab? Answer is there's no limit. It means national emergency can continue to infinity because there is no such, you can say, limit mentioned there. Why constitutional framers have not mentioned limit? Because if national emergency is imposed due to some external threat, internal threat, then no one can say when this threat is going to be removed. If the limit would have been imposed, say, 1 year, and threat is continuing for 3 years, then what is going to happen? History teaches us that in many countries were on war for 5 or 6 years. In case of war, more power is needed at the center. So if you put a limit of 1 year, then the purpose of national emergency would have been dissolved, right? I think it is quite clear to you now. Every resolution approving the proclamation to be done by special majority, already told you. Please remember, we are talking about Article 352. Now, revocation of proclamation. 3 cases. 1, जिसने किया वही उसको हटा दे. It means President has declared national emergency. President himself or herself can declare that it is revoked, obviously on the advice of Council of Ministers. Second, power is with Lok Sabha. So one power is with President, another is with Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha can bring resolution, and if it is passed from simple majority that Lok Sabha wants to remove national emergency, it can be removed. Third case was added through 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. It says that if 1/10 member of Lok Sabha, again, the power is in Lok Sabha, but 1/10 member of Lok Sabha can bring a proposal, write a letter, they can sign and give this letter to Speaker, that's Honorable Speaker, just we want a session in the House so that we can bring a proposal for removal of national emergency. If Lok Sabha is not in session, then they can present this letter even to Honorable President. And this provision says within 14 days, session need to be held. And if there it is passed from simple majority that we need to remove national emergency, then it will be removed. So there are 3 cases. I hope now it is clear to you. Now, effect on the life of Lok Sabha and state legislature. Consider that Lok Sabha is having a, say, tenure of 5 years, right? So normally it is tenure of 5 years, but national emergency was imposed in 4.5 years, means 6 months were left. So national emergency is imposed for 6 months, and it can be extended again if condition persists and Parliament approves. So when national emergency is continuing, parallelly, the life of Lok Sabha can also be extended. Extended by how much time? Answer is 1 year. Please remember this. There should be no confusion in this. When it comes to national emergency, it is being extended 6 months at a time. But when it comes to life of Lok Sabha, it is being extended 1 year at a time. And why this difference was made by our constitutional framers? There's a simple logic to that. If you also extend this for 6 months, it would be difficult to actually maintain the need, or you can say maintain this conditionality that within 6 months you have to get it approved. National emergency need to be approved, because these are tiring circumstances, and in this government needs a strong Parliament, because important discussions will be made there, laws will be made there, the working of Parliament will continue, right? So if Parliament's future itself is under threat that after 6 months it can be dissolved, then how can actually this 6 months extension of national emergency and debate on whether we need to extend it or not can actually happen peacefully, right? That is why security was given to Lok Sabha, then only they can continue with this important decision. Clear? Now, same provision is applicable with respect to state legislature. Means state legislature, because conditions are such that it may be possible that there is no scope of having elections for the state legislature itself, right? So in this case, national emergency is being extended for 6 months at a time. Parallelly, the state legislature tenure can be extended 1 year at a time. And there's no limit mentioned here. I gave you the reason why, right? Now, with respect to its connection with judiciary, you need to remember 3 things. 38th Constitutional Amendment Act, 44th and Mineral case. 38th Constitutional Amendment Act was actually, you can say, brought by Indira Gandhi government. What she did? She said, this imposition of national emergency is beyond judicial review. Court cannot question, court cannot stall, court cannot revoke. Now, 44th Amendment Act changed this, and it brought this national emergency into judicial review. Review means judiciary can check. And in minimal case, Supreme Court itself clearly said that this national emergency can be challenged in court. Now, court can check whether malified intentions were there or not, whether adequate proofs were there or not, or it was just for political gain. So it means now judiciary's ambit or judiciary's review is there on national emergency. Clear? Now let's talk about president rule. So now you have actually structured your understanding on national emergency. Now you will be able to compare with 356 and 360 better. We are talking about president rule. Why president rule? President is the executive head of Indian state, right? And some responsibilities are given by constitution to the center. Responsibilities like this state should run as per the constitution. This responsibility is mentioned, this duty is mentioned in Article 355. And if duty is under threat, it means some state is not working as per constitution. Some state government is saying no. Either we are not capable to uphold the constitution or we don't want to work as per Indian constitution. Don't you think it can be threat to India? In such circumstances, Article 356 can be used, by which president rule can be imposed. So when I say president rule, it means now state government will not be having power, because this state government was not successful in running the state as per constitution. So in this case, president is going to rule. And you know, president works on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So actually indirectly, central government gets power to rule that state. President's name is there, and governor as the functioner in the state coordinates this functioning. I told you 355 and 356 have relation. 355 talks about the duty on the center, that provisions of constitution should be, in use in that state. It should be run as per constitution. 356 says that if there is failure of constitution machinery, then in this case, you can impose president rule. But how it is going to happen? In this regard, governor of that state can present a report before president. Okay, sir, I am the governor of the state and I have these proofs that this state is not being run as per constitution. Constitution machinery is a failure. So president will say, okay, we are imposing Article 356. Now CM is not going to have power. His Council of Ministers is not going to have power. We are going to have power. Okay. Now another question is it mandatory for the president to accept the decision, or you can say recommendation of governor that please impose president rule here? No. It is not binding on president to accept such, such recommendation, such report. Now another question comes into mind is whether president has only, this dependence on state governor, that only when governor is going to present this report, then only this Article 56 can be used? No. This is just one route, right? If president has adequate proof, evidence, and is satisfied that yes, it needs to be done, then it can be done, obviously on the advice of Council of Ministers. So the popularly known as president rule. Now what are the ground of imposition? So ground of imposition 2, number 1, you know that failure of constitutional machinery. Second is that if a state government fail to actually follow the directions which were given by center. It is clearly mentioned in Article 365 that whenever a state fails to comply with or to give effect to any direction from the center, then also this can be a basis of considering that failure of constitutional machinery is there. Okay, there are many disputes on this, that any direction word is mentioned, and in this manner, this is against the concept of federalism. Now, parliamentary approval. In case of national emergency, you know that it need to be approved by both houses within 1 month. In this case, it need to be approved by both houses, but within 2 months. Okay, so President rule must be approved by both the House of Parliament within 2 months. There it was 1 month. There it was special majority. Here it is simple majority from either house. So those who are reading this, have you ever thought why in the first line it is saying President rule must be approved by both the Houses of Parliament within 2 months, and here it is saying simple majority in either house? So why both and here either? The reason is that there may be a possibility when Lok Sabha is not in session. So in this case, if Raj Sabha approves it by simple majority, then also it will be considered that it is approved by Parliament as of now. Okay, that is the reason. And the second case is similar. If Lok Sabha is not in session, then you have to get it passed from Raj Sabha. And when Lok Sabha comes again, then you have to get it passed from Lok Sabha within 30 days. Same rule is there. Now the time is extension time. Point is extension time. In case of national emergency, we discussed 6 months extension in one time. Here also, it is 6 months extension in one time. There I told you that there is no limit mentioned, but here there is a limit, that is 3 years. So 6 months at a time, but 3 years is the maximum limit, means for which this President rule can be imposed in one stretch. And this is the scope of actually misusing this. It was saying one stretch, one stretch 3 years, then let them have a government, and then 356 can be misused again, then again President rule can be imposed. So such circumstances should not occur. That's why this Bombay case, in this Supreme Court has said that Article 356 should be used in rarest of rare case. Sarkari Commission also said that it should be used in utmost necessary circumstances as a last resort. Now, what is the consequence of President rule? So these are the consequences. First of all, on executive part, President gets the power that President can actually take important decisions with respect to the state government, and on the behalf of President, who is going to act? Governor is going to act. When it comes to legislative aspect, he can declare the power of state legislature are to be exercised by Parliament. Okay, legislative power exercised by Parliament. For example, if there is a matter which is mentioned state list, so now Parliament can make a law on this matter of state list. Then suspension power, what does it mean? That it may be possible certain constitutional provisions related to any body, authority, which they consider need to be suspended for time being, so they can suspend these provisions. Okay. Now scope of judicial review, it is same. 38th constitutional amendment was saying that it is beyond judicial review. 44th amendment was saying, acha, aisa nahi, this cannot happen. So that is why after 44th amendment, this was deleted and now it is under judicial review. Okay. Now what happens when a state governor suspended or dissolved? A state government suspended or dissolved. So now these are the provisions. It is quite easy to understand, but I want you to give attention to the details. The best way to answer any kind of question which UPSC is going to throw, in your paper, is that when you learn by questioning the statement itself. When you learn about a provision, just think, if we change the statement, what meaning it is going to infer, whether this statement will be true then only. So when we have this critical reasoning, then polity becomes a cakewalk. Now Parliament can delegate the power to make laws for the state to President. Okay, so it means I told you with respect to legislative changes, now Parliament can make law with respect to state, right? And here we are saying that consider there is no state government there, right? No state legislature there. So now Parliament can actually delegate this function to President also, or President may specify by him or her. President may specify any other authority which can actually do this function. Okay, so UPSC may actually play here. Okay, So who can make law now for state? Parliament, president, or any other authority which is specified by president. So authority is decided by president. Okay. Parliament, or in case of delegation, the president or any can make laws conferring power or imposing. So simply you can consider that with respect to maintaining the law and order, with respect to achieving the desired outcomes, now duties and responsibilities and powers can also be given to central government officers. That even though you are a central government officer, but now you have to take care of these functions for the state government. So this can also be done. President can authorize, when the Lok Sabha not in session, expenditure. So you can clearly remember, president can authorize expenditure from consulate fund of state. Okay, can. But when Parliament, when Lok Sabha is not in session. Okay, if Lok Sabha is not in session. Clear? And why we are specifically mentioning Lok Sabha is not in session? Because with respect to expenditure, we talk about money bill, right? And for money bill, Lok Sabha has the power. So it needs to be approved by Lok Sabha, right? Fourth is ordinance power. Means if Lok Sabha is not in session and there's a need of law, then in this case, president can actually issue ordinance, which is like temporary law, right? But condition is that either house of parliament should not be in session. Now, revocation of president rule. It is quite simple. President has imposed, president can remove. In this case, Lok Sabha, parliament is not involved. So it means proclamation of revocation does not require approval by the parliament. Okay. This occurs when the leader of political party, means opposition political party or any political parties, they say that we have required majority in the state. Now you don't need to actually have president rule here. We can actually prove the majority and we can have a staple government. So in this case, president can actually declare, "ठीक है, we are removing president rule." Now these points are important. Just listen to me one by one. Laws that are made by parliament or issued by the president, they are going to continue even after president rule is removed. But continue till what time? Till the new state government, new state legislature repeal them. Okay, so they are going to continue. Now, powers of High Court. Will there be any change in power of High Court due to state emergency or president rule? No. No change in power of High Court. Because High Court, judiciary is totally different. Here the changes are going to come in legislative and executive power, right? President rule has no effect on fundamental right. Please remember it. In case of national emergency, we talked about Article 358, Article 59, impact on fundamental rights. But here, no impact. President rule was the first imposed in Punjab. This is a fact, and sometimes UPSC is asking one statement. They give one statement on fact. Okay. Sarkari Commission gave recommendation on the effective use of Article 56 that it should be used in rarest of rare cases, right? So I think these points are clear to you, right? No change on High Court, fundamental rights, no change, no impact. First imposed in Punjab, 1951, and told you that it will continue. It is not like these laws cease to exist the moment president rule is removed. ऐसा नहीं है. Please remember it. Now let's talk about financial emergency. The word is financial. It means if finances of India, credit of India, it is under threat. Means financial stability or credit of India or any part of the territory is threatened. In this case, Article 56 might be used by the Honorable President, and then financial emergency is going to be imposed. Now, proclamation must be approved by both the houses of parliament within 2 months. Please remember, in case of national emergency, it was 1 month. 356, 360, it is 2 months. Okay. If Lok Sabha is not in session, the same case, you have to get it passed from Raj Sabha, and when Lok Sabha come, then you have to get it passed from Lok Sabha within 30 days. Okay. Once approved, I told you, in case of national emergency, approved for 6 months, then it needs to be approved again for infinite, no limit. In case of state emergency, I told you, approved for 6 months. You have to come again for 6 months, but there's a limit, 3 years, right? In case of financial emergency, once approved, it will remain in place. You need not to come again and again for approval. Once approved both the House of Parliament, financial emergency continues indefinitely till it is revoked. What is the rationale behind it? One logic is that since we are talking about financial emergency, then we need to actually take measures to reduce this financial burden on government. Even if a session is called for 1 day, 2 days for actually continuing getting approval again, it will be huge expenditure on this itself, right? And that is why this was made. Now, effect of financial emergency. So you can remember these keywords. First is extension. It means executive authority of the union over financial matters of the state. Please remember, financial matter we are talking about, right? So it means if state government wants to make a bill to actually bring some new policy, then in this case, president will say, no, you have to give this bill to me. I'm going to review the financial position. Then you can actually pass. So now financial power, this executive power tilted towards center. With respect to reduction, salaries of all government employees can be reduced. Reservation of money bills and other financial bills, as I told you. Then direction can be given to the states by the center that you need to take these austerity measures, means measures to reduce your expenditure. And you should know that in case of financial emergency, even the salaries of judges of Supreme Court and High Court can be reduced. Okay. Now, criticism of emergency provisions. You should remember 3 points. Number 1, that it gives excessive power to center. It turns India's federal model into unitary model. So this is one criticism. Sometimes center abuses these provisions to gain power. Second, fundamental rights. In case of national emergency, I told you Article 58, 59, fundamental rights may be subjugated. Then it is against democracy, because government can actually keep on continuing the tenure of Lok Sabha, and it can continue till infinite time. So some says that it can be a way to have dictatorial tendencies in Indian political system, right? So please remember, register these keywords in your memory when a question is asking about criticism part, okay? Even Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said that he is not denying that these provisions will not be misused or for political gain. So he even agreed. Now let's attempt these questions. Which of the following is not correct regarding financial emergency? Please read the statement and attempt it right now. The declaration of financial emergency requires the approval of both House of Parliament. What do you think? Yes or no? Yes, I've just told you. Approval within 2 months. Resolution approving the declaration of financial emergency should be passed by special majority by either House of Parliament. Are you able to identify some mistake in this statement? Come on, in comments. Special majority. This is a sin if any one of you says this is correct. I told you. The word special majority is used only in case of national emergency, right? Approval for national emergency, we use special majority. In 356, 360, we use simple majority. And this question was asking not correct. So it means B is the answer, right? Now, attempt this question. Which of the following statement is not true? The fundamental rights of Article 19 are suspended automatically during national emergency declared on the basis of war or external aggression. What do you think? Statement is true or false? Answer is true. I told you. Article 358. In Article 58, I told you, in case of external emergency, means war or external aggression, then in this case, I told you, F6 means 6 fundamental rights mentioned under Article 19, they will be automatically suspended, right? So this statement is correct. Fundamental right of Article 19 cannot be suspended in case of national emergency declared on the basis of armed rebellion. This is also correct, because I told you in case of external emergency it is going to be used. But armed rebellion comes under the category of internal emergency. So it is also correct. Article 19 automatically reviews when the national emergency is over. Automatically revives. It is revives. It is correct. Because I told you in 358 that the time period of the suspension is till this national emergency, external national emergency is in place. When a national emergency is enforced, the fundamental rights of Article 19 are repealed after the President's order. How can this be true? Repealed? Repealed means removed. This is false. And this is what we need to understand. We need to pinpoint. So answer is D. Right? Repealed means removal. Now, next question. Consider the following statement regarding Lok Sabha. Okay? Although we are going to talk about Lok Sabha in Parliament chapter, but since it is connected to national emergency also, one statement that let's attempt. Lok Sabha has a normal term of 5 years, correct? After which it automatically dissolves. Yes, it is also true. And we have to identify correct, okay? Once the Lok Sabha is dissolved before the completion of its normal tenure, the dissolution is irrevocable. It means normal tenure is 5 years. But before that, Council of Ministers at the level of Union, if they recommend to the Honorable President, sir, we want to conduct elections now. We know that 6 months are left, but we need to conduct elections now. Please dissolve the Lok Sabha. So on this advice, President can dissolve the Lok Sabha. So it is saying it is irrevocable. So once dissolved, now you cannot say let's actually continue with the same Lok Sabha. So this is true. Right? Revocation of the national emergency is the exclusive power of Lok Sabha. It is saying revocation of national emergency is the exclusive power of Lok Sabha. How many ways of revocation of national emergency I have told you? Come on. 3 ways. In 2 ways, there is a role of Lok Sabha, but there is 1 way in which Lok Sabha role cannot be considered as exclusive. Means President himself, herself can actually revoke the national emergency. Right? 1, President can revoke. So how can it be exclusive? Second, I told you Lok Sabha passes a resolution by simple majority. Third, I told you after 44th amendment that 1/10th member of Lok Sabha, if they give this letter to the speaker or to the president, then within 14 days we need to convene a session of the Lok Sabha so that this matter can be put to debate, or this resolution need to be passed. Right? So it means answer is 1 and 2 means B. Right? So I hope now you are clear with this emergency provisions and confident now, right? So if you have any doubt, you can shoot me a message on my personal Telegram also. This is the Telegram group for having this PDF, Shashank Tyagi for you, and shashank.powerbeing. This is my personal Insta handle. You can shoot me a message there if you have any doubt. And yeah, so those people who are in the phase of purchasing any course from StudyIQ, so if you use this code, then there's a 33% discount. Usually there's 30% discount, 3% more discount is there, and it is valid till 21st March. Holi offer. So happy Holi. So stay safe and see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning, keep growing.